Hour 2 of the program, ladies and gentlemen. Tobin and Leroy take you up until 2 here on the program. Heat Colt on our Twitch chat says, great, I come here for my least favorite hour. Not a fan of the hour 2, eh?
Oh.
Wow, all right, dude. Listen, if you are a Heat guy, you missed me roasting the Knicks last hour, just scroll back on the Twitch, dude. Yeah, I'm not here to hear your complaints. You guys literally can listen on demand and go back and listen to any part of the show that you want to. So, quit crying like a bunch of Knicks fans out here. Oh, we were so injured, bro.
Wow.
Anyway, let's get to our headlines brought to you by the new Palmetto Ford Truck Super Center. Why buy a truck at a car store? Palmetto Ford.
We know trucks.
I don't like what you've been doing during the breaks, dude.
Oh, no. What I'm doing is trying to keep it real.
What?
I'm just trying to keep it
What do you mean
real,
you're trying to keep it real?
Well,
you keep acting like Tua is doing something nefarious, and it doesn't appear that he is. What has he done that you've been so
showed
upset?
up to work? Oh, thank God he showed up to work.
Voluntary work.
Oh, yeah.
Voluntary
We
work.
all know what that means.
What does that mean?
A little wink. Sometimes your job hits you with one of those emails.
Well, I do think it is. I do think that's true. Like, they can't force you to go, but I don't think that Tua would have held out and made Mike McDaniel look like it, because I think he's got a lot of respect for Mike McDaniel.
Well, I don't know if he's holding in. He could be doing the Christian Wilkins thing. We saw how that ended.
So you think that Tua will be there, but if they were to throw passes, that he would just not throw passes? He'll make Mike White do it?
You heard him this weekend rejecting offers.
He can't get touched.
Well,
I mean, nobody can in OTAs, really. They're working out in jammies.
I just think he wants to show, hey, you think you can live without me? Let's see Mike White do it. But little does he know, Mike White's got some talent.
Does he?
Better watch out.
Does he?
Maybe.
Does he?
Potentially.
That's how I would do it for negotiations. Be like, how about a week of Skylar Thompson?
Skylar's the limit.
Not anymore. Unless he's got Izukama in a preseason game.
Oh, yeah. That's a good matchup.
But I don't know. Like, here's the thing. For those who aren't caught up on the weekend shenanigans with Tua, there was a report last week from CBS that had said that Tua had not shown up for OTAs, that for part of OTAs.
Wow.
That he had been missing all of the that he had been missing some work. Now, it's voluntary. All they're really doing right now is like lifting and doing meetings. And I got to tell you, what can he do with Mike McDaniel that he can't do on FaceTime? Like, if he really needed to get a hold of Tua, do you think that, like, I'm just trying to figure out from the Dolphin fan perspective, do you think that Tua is like sending Mike McDaniel to voicemail?
Okay.
Is that what you think is happening?
No, that's not what I'm
just wondering. Is that what people think?
Oh, you think it's just you can do the show from home?
I could.
Why don't you?
I like showing up. Every once in a while
because
I do like doing the show in studio.
Accountability, because
I got to tell you,
leadership.
Today's drive, I was like, Jesus. I got duped by the Golden Glades. It was like, oh, this is pretty easy. Right? And then I got to 95, like exits. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, that's true. 95 was bad.
And then it was blocked again. Yeah.
What the hell is going on?
In Northeast Second? Fix it, dude. Fix it. So. Yeah, like this. So this report comes out that says he hadn't been to OTAs, that this was in response to his contract. And then this report comes from ESPN over the weekend from Jeremy Fowler. Great hair. Looks like a reporter. Really? He looks like a reporter. Like, if you were talking about like who, but a sniveling reporter, like if I were to say like, who's the ass kisser reporter in Spider-Man, who's going to try and rat out, because he's like, something's up with that Peter Parker. You say
it's Jeremy Fowler.
Jeremy Fowler, dude.
How is Peter Parker always in the same room as Spider-Man?
I don't know. Something's going on there.
And so these photos.
How does he always know? Because him and Peter Parker are competing for the same thing, and he likes Mary Jane. He's into redheads. Okay. But like, he doesn't understand how she's into Peter and not Jeremy Fowler, because Jeremy Fowler's got objectively better hair. And Peter Parker, I mean, depending on which one you go with, Tobey Maguire, who kind of actually looks exactly like Jeremy Fowler. If Jeremy Fowler were to have somebody play him, I would say it would probably be Tobey Maguire. But if you were to go with Tom Holland, Mr. Zendaya, are they still together?
Report. I don't know, because I say they're not, and then J-Fig yells.
Okay. Well, J-Fig will let us know whether or not Tom Holland and Zendaya are together. But either way, Jeremy Fowler looks like the type of guy who just wouldn't. He's just sick of Peter Parker always getting Mary Jane. Anyway, the point is,
What a streak.
Jerry Fowler reports over the weekend, and he says that Tua, he says he has missed some OTA time. I've confirmed. It really could depend on how negotiations go with his contract, whether he starts to show up and is there full time. They have had contract talks, preliminary talks. I'm told the Dolphins made at least one contract offer. We know how these things go. The offer apparently hasn't been good enough, or he'd probably be there full time. The market is pretty set. We saw Jared Goff make 50 plus per year. That's going to apply to Tua and to Trevor Lawrence. So, okay, so Tua rejected a deal. I don't understand what the problem is there. It's a negotiation. We were all, I'm sure that they were like, hey, Tua, the hometown discount. That was probably the first offer. And he goes,
you think the Dolphins lowballed him?
I think they lowballed him. Yeah.
Wow.
I think they lowballed him. And he goes, nah, playa. And then he goes, you know what? How about this? You guys figure it out. I'm going to go work out with John Beck for a couple days. I'll be back. I'll be back next week.
So, okay, hold on. Doesn't that leave a bit of a bad taste in your mouth in general? Just because
Not
the
really.
first attempt was a low ball? That's what we're doing here?
Oh, am I mad that the Dolphins lowballed him?
Yeah.
That's negotiations. What are you supposed if Chris Greer's job is to get Tua on the cheap skis as much as he can.
But someone, it's just, that doesn't break even. You don't go into that and then, because either Tua's going to walk away feeling like, oh, the Dolphins are really going to lowball me, huh? Or the Dolphins are going to walk away thinking, oh, this guy really thinks that he's going to get all my money, huh?
SDI says, imagine being bad at your job and having the guts not to show up to work. The balls on this Tua.
Wow.
Here's the thing, though. He hasn't missed anything. It's been voluntary. He hasn't, just been golfing. He's been working out. He very clearly looks like he's been working out. This is not a fat cat who's coming into camp, looking like, oh, I haven't worked out at all. Yeah. The other thing is, he has met with the rookies. He's thrown with the rookies. Odell Beckham said last week to Travis Wingfield on their podcast, he said that he met Tua last Wednesday, whenever he got introduced. I think it was Wednesday. He goes, I met Tua today.
Wow.
So, are you mad because he didn't meet Odell Beckham days before?
No, I mean, what is he doing hanging out with OBJ? The guy's a sketchy character.
What do you mean?
It could have been Tootsie's at 3 p.m. I don't know what Tua is doing. I need him to stay focused.
He seems focused. I don't, but here's what I would say. It doesn't really appear like there's a lot of drama. I think they made a little bit of a mountain out of a molehill. However,
they don't seem to be close in negotiations.
However, this is what I would say.
Yeah.
There's still potential for drama because if you don't pay Tua, it's going to be a headline. It's going to be a thing. Now, as far as Tua's concerned, this dude, not making a jiu-jitsu joke, this guy is a black belt in controversy.
True.
Of meaningless controversy too, because this guy, seemingly everything that he does, and we're talking remember we spent weeks talking about a stupid deep ball to Tyreek Hill that was thrown in OTAs. Yeah. We are talking about this guy coming off of hip injuries. We were talking about this guy having to deal with a show pony backup quarterback who was crying about losing his job to Tua. We're talking about a coach who actively wanted him off the team and also was trying to get Deshaun Watson. We're talking about him having to go to the podium every single week and say, I don't not feel wanted. So in the end, we can have some fodder here, and I get the media game. I'm not blaming anybody for running with whatever elements of the story there is, because there are elements that are interesting. Are the Dolphins going to pay this guy? Do they truly believe in him? How will Tua? The thing I honestly I worry about the least, Marcos, is how will Tua handle it? I think he'll be fine. The guy has had to deal with something literally every year that he has been in the league. Every year he's had to deal with something. He very clearly has a lot of love for the coach. I don't know how much love he has for the GM. I don't know.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'm just speculating.
Right,
I don't know how much love I'd have for the GM. And the GM is going to be in a spot where, hey, whatever I do, I don't know if Chris Greer is ever really going to be in jeopardy. The guy's been here for 20 years, whatever.
True.
But when you pay a quarterback and you blow it, if you blow it, that could be a real stain on your resume. So I get Chris Greer having to be careful about this too. For everybody who's out here and being like, hey, Tua has nothing to prove. Tua is the perfect quarterback, because the Tua thing is such a crazy debate amongst everybody, because everybody's just in their foxhole with it. And I've said it, I'm a huge Tua fan. I really like the guy. I do think the way that he's handled a lot of adversity is really admirable. I've been having more fun watching Dolphins football these last 2 years than I can remember, maybe since Ricky. And I'm like going to games with my grandfather. But
Wildcat.
also, he's not perfect. When he gets pressure on him, he is not the same quarterback.
Nope.
And he still has things to prove. So, yeah, it's an interesting standoff. And you want to know something else? This is going to be the biggest story of the offseason because there's nothing else going on. Nothing else going on. And I'm not even just saying from a locals perspective. We at least have, some teams doing some things and a heat summer where there's going to be some weird stuff. But I'm talking nationally in the NFL. What's the big story? What's the big story? Would you think it was going to be Jared Goff? No, he got paid. No. Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence doesn't move the needle. Nobody talks about Trevor Lawrence. Who talks about Trevor Lawrence? Nobody. Nobody talks about Trevor Lawrence. He plays for a team that's in the UK. He might as well play for Liverpool. Nobody talks about Trevor Lawrence. No, he does.
It's a few hours north of us.
Dude, he might as well play for a team in England. That's what he plays for. Okay? Which is why I left him high and dry. I'm out of here.
Wow.
Their stupid owner cares more about wrestling than he does football.
That's true.
Okay?
Shut up with a
And also, you pay Blake Bortles instead of my favorite player, Jalen Ramsey, who's now on the Dolphins. So win-win for Tobes. But nobody cares about him.
Okay.
Nobody cares about him. Dak Prescott? We're going to have more Dak Prescott controversy? It's tired. It's worn out. This is the number one story nationally in the offseason. He's a polarizing figure for whatever reason. So any little movement on this is going to be a thing. Is this really a thing? Probably not, dude. Probably not. He's probably... what are your feelings that Tua would actually hold out of training camp? Because I'm going to go 0% that happens.
Yeah, okay, look, I can agree that this will not affect us in regards to training camp. I think Tua is going to fall in line and be a good soldier. This is where I think it's going to affect us. Week 5, where Tua's like, my body kind of hurts. Don't think I'm going to force through it this week. That's why I feel like this contract issue.
But Lamar Jackson got that staple on him too before he signed his deal. People thought that he could have pushed through for the playoffs, and he didn't.
Yep, and he bet on himself. And he won, and he took him to an AFC championship. You bet on yourself, Tua. You take me to an AFC championship, you can have $60 million. How about that? But as of right now, $48.50.
I feel like we're quibbling.
$48.50.
$48.50. What are we saving? Like 3 cents on the salary cap?
$48.52.